when we were in the alcove over there praying just before the service, Pastor Kevin said something about Chelsey that I thought was very profound. In his prayer, he said that there was no one in that area, in that room, who had not, is not, or will not experience the kinds of circumstances that Chelsey has overcome. So please welcome Chelsey Woodford.
Yeah. I wanted to thank everyone for coming. I'm very honored to speak to you today and tell you what I've experienced. But I kind of got to give you a little background to kind of tell you where I was. Up until 3 years ago, everything was going really good for me. I was always a really good student. I was on a competitive cheerleading team that was one of the top cheerleading teams in the world, and I was president of my sorority. I ended up graduating from the University of Alabama in May 2012, and I was offered one of the 40 spots in the Doctorate of Physical Therapy program here at WVU. So that same month in May, I packed everything up, and I moved here. My parents and my sister, they live in Georgia, and I left all my friends there, and I started a new life and a new journey. It was a lot of change that summer. I started experiencing so much stress, and I was having a hard time adapting not only to a new place, but to a new program, a new school. It was harder than I had ever experienced before, and I started struggling with school. I was having meltdowns all the time, crying, and just sometimes I had absolutely no reason to cry, but I was crying all the time. And I started having the worst nightmares you can imagine. And I just was losing sleep. I started losing interest in things that I really enjoyed before. And at that time before, where I would have turned to my parents or turned, especially my mom, or turned to my best friends, they were over 600 miles away, and I really didn't want to tell anyone that I was struggling, so I tried to tough it out and go through that semester. And it wasn't until a few months in, it was October of 2012 that year, I was sitting at a football game with my cousins Tanner and Garrett, and I had another meltdown coming on, and I knew it was coming. And I was like, oh, okay, I got to get up from the stands, can't let them see me. So I went out into the grassy area outside the stadium. I called my mom, and I said, I can't do this anymore. I need help. There's something wrong, and I just can't do it on my own anymore. So pretty soon after that, I went to the doctor, and he diagnosed me with anxiety and depression. And there was something he said to me during that examination that, I don't know, kind of struck me as different, being a doctor's office. He said, Chelsey, how is your life spiritually? And I was like, no, why are you asking me that? And I said, well, I go to church every Sunday. My uncle's pastor. I'm good. And I didn't understand this at the time, but he said, I think what you're experiencing is some spiritual warfare. And so what he gave me as my treatment was, he said, I want you to read the Bible 15 minutes in the morning, and I want you to pray before you go to school. And so I did that, and I kept going on, and I didn't want anyone to know that I had been diagnosed with depression, because this society makes that disease horrible, and I'm trying to make new friends here. I'm trying to adapt to a new place, and I didn't want people to be like, oh, I don't want to hang out with her. She cries all the time. So anyhow, I kept doing that. I kept reading, like he said, and I went back for my checkup, and he said, how's everything going? And I was like, well, everything's going okay, but I'm having these horrible nightmares. I can't sleep. I'm waking up crying. I'm waking up screaming, and I'm getting no sleep, and I'm trying to deal with school. It was so much for me to handle. And he said, Chelsey, I think you need to go to a Christian counselor. And he was like, how about your Uncle Kevin? And I was like, well, then that would require me to actually tell him what's going on. So I actually had to tell him, which obviously I'm sure he already realized, because everyone could tell there was something wrong, because I couldn't go a day without having some type of meltdown over something. So we started meeting together, and we met every week for a long time. I don't even know how long, but we talked about a lot of things. We identified a lot of stressors in my life, like figuring out what's causing the breakdowns. And then we started looking at what he called reframing the picture. So anytime I was experiencing any type of anxiety or anything like that, making it into something that's positive and something that's good. And then to find a peaceful place, to let yourself relax and refill and let the Lord just be with you. And that's something I really never had done before. I was always on the go, and I was always doing things for others, and I really didn't take time to do things for myself. There is a passage that I continued to read during that time, Matthew 8:23 through 27. It tells you about, or it's a story about how there's a big storm, and Jesus and the disciples are on the boat, and Jesus is sleeping in the back of the boat, and the disciples wake him up and say, Jesus, help us, save us, we're going to drown. And he says, you have little faith, why are you so afraid? And he calms the storm. And so anytime I was feeling anxious or anything like that, I would go to that scripture and I would pray, and I would just ask for Jesus to calm me and be in my life and just calm the storm. So I learned a lot about my relationship with Christ during that time that I was meeting with Kevin. I learned a lot about myself too, and I met with him for a really long time. This was not an overnight process by any means. But I had felt like I was in such a hole that I could not get out of by myself. And when I started letting Christ into my life, more than just believing, actually having a relationship with him, I started to dig out of that hole. And so what I started doing is I started living every day for Christ. And everything I did was for him, and all the glory and the successes I had in my life went directly to him, which is not something that I had on the forefront of my mind before. I had always believed, but having that relationship every single day, and believing in him and having him work in your life every single day is so different. And I wanted people to look at me, and I wanted them to see what God has done in my life, and I wanted them to see Jesus when they looked at me. And in the spring of 2015, of this past year, I went to Charleston for a rotation down there. And there was really nothing to do down there because I lived in this really small dorm, and there was no internet and no cable, and I didn't really have much to do. So what I would do is I would go to the river that was behind my dorm, and I would walk around, and I'd bring my Bible and I'd read, and I'd come back on the weekends and I'd go to church. And during one of those times, Kevin talked about in one of his sermons to surrendering yourself completely to the Lord, giving everything you can to the Lord. And at that time, I was at a pretty good point with God, but there are still some things that I didn't completely surrender in my life. And so I went back that next week, and at the time at the river, I realized that that's what I needed to do. And I can't explain to you the amount of peace and just overwhelming calmness and stillness that's in my life now, ever since I have done that. Just giving everything you possibly can to him. And so it's taken me a long time to get out of that hole and out of that depression and on to new things and a better relationship with Christ. And right before I graduated, Kevin sent me the text message, and he just prayed about it too. But Philippians 1:6, he who began a good work in you will complete it until the day of Jesus Christ. And I had been battling all of this stuff while I was going through school, and man, that was a hard program, and I was dealing with that too. And I was never really used to doing bad in school, so that was a lot of stress, extra stress that was put on me. But I made it through, and I graduated this past May, and I got my Doctor of Physical Therapy degree. And then I went and I took my boards, and I passed them the first time, and in this summer, and I started working at Ruby Memorial Hospital as a physical therapist. And every single day, I'm introduced with patients who are having this life-changing event. They're really sick, or they had an amputation, or they are in a horrible accident, and they're looking to me to get them back out. Help me out of this hole. Help me make me better. And so I hope that they can look at me and, without me even saying anything, realize they see Jesus and they see what he's done for me. And I've been there, and I can relate to them and relate to these patients on a different level than some people who have never quite got through it. And so I tell you guys my story tonight, not necessarily because I'm proud of being diagnosed with depression, but I'm proud of how I've overcome it. And I hope that you can look at me, and I hope that my patients can look at me, and they can see the hope and know that they can get through any hard times that they come across, because all of us are going to have some type of hard time in our life and hard experience. And if you just open your life and open your heart to Jesus and let him actually work in your life every single day, he can take that away from you and help you get through it. And he's not gonna leave you and everything. You're gonna get through it just like I did. And I hope that you guys can experience this relationship that I've developed with Christ. And it's a process. It's not something that you just do overnight, and it's not something that has stopped for me. Every day that I continue to have a closer relationship with Christ, and that's what's so great about it. And I hope that you guys have the ability to let him work in your life like I did. So thanks for listening to me.
What's that doctor's name?
Yeah.
I do not. Marcucci. That's my doctor. How about that? Did you know he was a Navy pilot for a while? Okay, that was for free. There's an old adage that if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you should do is stop digging. Here's your opportunity. If you have had experiences, anxiety, depression, stress, here's your opportunity to stop digging. Because as the musicians return, they're going to be playing music that will allow you to think and will allow you to respond. And we have several response areas. We have communion over there. If you would like to take communion tonight, you are invited. We have candles over there. Sometimes lighting a candle acts as a memorial. Sometimes it is a prayer for light. I need to see my next step. Over here, my wife and I will be happy to anoint anyone with oil who would like to be anointed and prayed for. So, this is your time. Put the shovel down and find Christ.